Very good morning, children. In yesterday's class, we learned about the microorganisms which are helping us and which are causing harm to us. Huh? So, we have so many uses and harm also with the microorganisms that we completed. So, today, we are going to learn another interesting topic, how the organisms are going to increase their number. Okay, how the organisms are going to continue their life, that we are learning under the lesson reproduction in animals. So in this chapter we are going to learn how the organisms are going to continue their life. Okay, so in 7th class we learned about the how the plants are going to continue their life. You have learned when the seeds are sown in the soil, they are going to germinate and they grow into saplings. Sapling will grow into plant. Then again the plant flowers and it fertilization process is going to happen. Then the fruit formation, seed formation will happen. So all that you have learned in the reproduction in plants. Okay, so how many types of plants are there depending upon the flower structure, like unisexual flowers, bisexual flowers. So all that you have learned in 7th class. Is it clear to you? So now in 8th class, how the reproduction is going to happen in animals, that you are going to learn. Is it clear to children? So now have you observed any time pigeons swab? Yes. Is it clear to you? So have you seen pigeons taking care of the eggs, or pigeons taking care of their nestlings? Yes, you might have seen. Is it clear to you? So now how that nestling has come from the egg? Is it not? So the egg is going to be hatched into young one. Is it clear to you? Just like that, have you seen your pet animal dog giving birth to young ones, puppies? Is it clear to you? So how it is happening? That is because of reproduction. Is it clear to you, children? So that we are going to learn. So just now you learned some animals like pigeons or other birds or any insects. Then you can observe other animals which are going to lay eggs. The egg will hatch into young one. Then we can observe the animal. Is it not, children? So just like if you take an example like dogs, cats, or any other animal, or we people, human beings. So how the that young one, from where that young one is going to be developed, all that if we see. So the young ones are given directly birth. Is it not, children? So that you are observing in your day-to-day life. Is it clear to you? So now let us learn here. Basically, the animals are going to reproduce by two ways. Is it clear to you? So in what way? First, by laying eggs. By laying eggs. And second one is by giving birth to young ones. Giving birth to young ones directly. Is it clear to you? So one group of animals, if we see, they are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Then the egg will hatch into young one, which resembles their parent. And some group of animals are going to reproduce by giving birth directly to young ones. Is it clear to children? So now let us observe some animals and their characters. So and how they are going to be observed. Is it clear to children? So that we are going to discuss now. So here we have to see the characters of the organisms which are going to reproduce by laying eggs and the organisms which are going to give birth to young ones directly. Is it clear to children? So some characters we can observe in those group of animals. For example, if you take some of the animals like birds or lizards, if we observe, do they have external ears like this, or do they have epidermal hair? Huh? Some other like dog, cat, or a goat, or human being, or lion, tiger, if we see, do they have external ear or epidermal hair? So all that we are going to observe now, and we are going to identify the animals, how they are going to reproduce. That is by giving birth to young ones directly or by laying eggs. Is it clear to children? So now let us do that activity. So serial number, then animals that have external ears, animals that have external ears, animals that do not have external ears. So external ear means the outermost part of the ear which can be seen externally. That one we call it as external ear. It is also called as ear pinna. Ear pinna. So we are going to identify the organisms with external ears, without external ears. Is it clear to children? For example, if I say pigeon, pigeon. So pigeon is a bird, is it not? Are you observing external ears? Have you seen external ears? No. So, no. Is it clear to you? Then, dog. 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 Is it have external ear? Have you seen external ears? Yes. External ear. Leopard. So is it having external ears, children? Yes. So here we are just keeping like that. Then sparrow. What is sparrow? Sparrow is a bird. So will it be seen with external ear? So here we have to put pigeon that do not have external ear, we have to keep. So sparrow here no, and here we have to keep that do not have external ear. Suppose if we take frog. Frog. Have you observed any time frog having external ears? No. They do not have. They are not. They do not have external ears. Here it will come. Is it clear to children? Like that, lizard you can take, cow you can take. Suppose if I write cow, what you will write? So cow is having external ears. Is it clear to you? Whereas here you have to keep like that. Is it clear to children? So now if we see dog, leopard, then cow, they have external ear, whereas pigeon, then sparrow, frog, they do not have external ear. Is it clear to children? So now we learn about another character like epidermal hair. So what is that epidermal hair? If we observe the skin of our body also, or any other animal like dog, cat, lion, tiger, we can observe, no children? So if we see, are we going to observe tiny hairs present on that Then when the hairs are seen on the skin, then they are called as epidermal hairs. Is it clear to you? Suppose if you observe like a penguin or like a sparrow, are you going to observe, children? No. So in sparrow we observe feathers. Is it clear to children? So like that here, epidermal hair, which animals are having. So like again, if you take a dog is having epidermal hair, is it not? Leopard, cow, deer, goat, they all have on the skin presence of hair. Is it not, children? Whereas pigeon or crow, duck, frog, lizard, they do not have a epidermal hair. So have you observed any time epidermal hair on the lizard, wall lizard? Yes. No hairs are seen. Is it not, children? So those animals are not having epidermal hair. Is it clear to you? So here what you are understanding with these groups, so you have grouped these animals into two groups. What are they? The organisms which have external ear and which do not have external ear, and the organisms which have epidermal hair as well as external ear. Have you followed? So dog is having external ear, cow is having external ear, goat is having external ear. Just like that, epidermal hair is also present on them. Is it not, children? Whereas crow, sparrow, lizard, then frog, if we see, they do not have external ear as well as epidermal hair also. They don't have. Is it clear to children? So now here we can keep these 2 points in the mind and we can identify the organisms now. So now how the dog is going to reproduce? Then cow, then cheetah or elephant or any other animal, they are going to reproduce by giving birth to young ones. Is it not, children? Just like that, sparrow or lizard or frog or snake, crow, all these they are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Is it clear to children? So now here, now you learn 2 ways that the animals are going to reproduce. One is by laying eggs and other one is by giving birth to young ones directly. So keeping that in the mind, what do we call the animals which are going to lay the eggs and which are going to give birth to young ones? That we will learn now. So now the animals which are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Is it clear to you? They do not have external ear as well as epidermal hair. Both are absent. Is it clear to children? But they are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Reproduce by laying eggs. So what do we call the organisms which are going to reproduce by laying eggs are called as oviparous. Oviparous animals. Very important. Okay, define the term oviparous animals means what? The oviparous animals are the group of animals which are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Is it clear to you? And they do not have external ear as well as epidermal hair. Can you give the examples now? Yes. So just now you learned so many examples which are going to reproduce by laying eggs. They are called all birds, then snakes. Is it clear to you? Then lizards, etc. So all these are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Is it clear to you? Then other group of animals are there which have external ear as well as epidermal hair. Okay, and they are going to reproduce by giving birth to young ones. So giving birth to young ones directly, they are called as viviparous. Viviparous animals. Is it clear to you? They are called as viviparous animals. So what do they have? They have external ear as well as hair on the skin. We can see. Is it clear to children? So they are going to give birth to young ones directly. So such type of animals are called as viviparous animals. Is it clear to children? So examples what you can give: cow, goat, and human beings, humans, all, okay, camel, all these animals are going to give birth to young ones directly. Monkeys. So do monkeys have external ear? Have you seen? Yes. Do monkeys have hair on the skin? Yes, no children. So they are all going to reproduce by giving birth to young ones directly. So they are called as viviparous animals. Is it clear to children? So like that here, the reproduction in animals is going to be carried out or the animals are going to reproduce by two ways. Here one is by giving birth to young ones directly, which we call them as viviparous, and by laying eggs. So they are called as oviparous animals. Okay. So here when the eggs are laid by the females, the eggs will hatch into young ones. Then only the young one is going to resemble. So in due course of time, the young one will develop and it resembles the parent. Is it clear to you? Suppose if you read any books, like some exemptions are there here, which are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Here you mentioned birds, snakes, lizards. Okay, some snakes are there which are going to give birth to young ones, like, please remember. Okay, some mammals are there. Even if they have external ear and epidermal hair, they are going to reproduce by laying eggs. Is it clear to you? So here mammals, primitive mammals like duckbill, platypus and echidna. Okay, and here Russell's viper, snake. Even if it doesn't have a external ear and epidermal hair, it is going to reproduce by giving birth to young ones. Some exemptions are there, but mostly the organisms are of oviparous, which are going to reproduce by laying eggs, and viviparous, which are giving birth to young ones directly. Is it clear to children? So like that you learned now two important points. How the reproduction is going to happen in the animals. So now what are the methods of reproduction? Now we will know. Is it clear to you? So now you learned just now how many methods are there. Okay, how many methods of reproduction, how the organisms are going to reproduce by two methods, like you learned. But here mode of reproduction. Okay, so how the organisms are going to reproduce, mode of reproduction, mode of reproduction. So here if we see any animals if we observe, the animals either reproduce asexually or sexually. Is it clear to children? So two modes we are going to observe in the reproduction in animals. One is said to be asexual reproduction, and other one is sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So in plants you have seen, no children, like where the seed is not produced and they are going to give birth, they are going to produce plants in 7th class, like potato, how it propagates, or bryophyllum, how it propagates. You learned or not, children? So just like that here, animals are also reproducing asexually and sexually. Is it right, children? So two modes are there. So now what are the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction? So now here, so write the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction like that. If you are given question, what will be your answer? So here in asexual reproduction, no gametes, no gamete formation. Okay, gametes means in 7th class you learned, suppose if you take plants, what are the gametes in flowering plants means like pollen grain and that I can tell, androecium and gynoecium. Like that you learnt or not, children? So here in asexual reproduction there is no formation of gametes. No gametes are formed. No gametes are formed. Whereas here in sexual reproduction, formation of gametes. Formation of gametes. So we are going to observe formation of gametes in sexual reproduction. Is it clear to you? So if gametes are not formed, where is the chance of what is that fertilization? No fusion of gametes. No fusion of gametes. Is it not? Any part, okay, any part from the parent organism can divide and it produce daughter cell or young ones. Is it clear to children? That's why here no gametes are formed. So no fusion of gametes we are observing in asexual reproduction. Whereas here gametes are formed in the sexual reproduction because unisexual or bisexual, whatever it may be, we are going to observe the sperms which are said to be the male gametes and ova or eggs which are said to be the female gametes. So they are formed, no children. So when the formation of gametes is going to be carried out, then fusion of gametes will be observed. Fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes takes place. Is it clear to you? So what do you call that fusion of gametes? Fertilization. So in asexual reproduction, no fertilization because no gametes are formed. Whereas in sexual reproduction, as the gametes are formed, so fertilization process we are going to observe. Is it clear to children? Then, so here in asexual reproduction, what is going to happen? If we see here, no gametes are formed and no fusion of gametes. So now, if fusion of gametes takes place only, we observe the resulting cell which we call it as zygote. So are you going to observe zygote here, children, in asexual reproduction? No. So no zygote formation. No zygote formation. So zygote is not formed. Why? Because no fusion of gametes. Whereas in sexual reproduction, zygote is formed. Zygote is formed. Why it is formed? That is because of the fusion of male gamete with the female gamete. Is it clear to children? Then, coming to the next point, as that single cell, that parent cell, in 7th class you learnt amoeba, which is said to be a single celled organism. So it is a parent cell, single cell, it gets divides. Is it clear to children? So amoeba is getting division is going to happen. So then next what will happen means here the parent cell is distributing all its content into two equal cells. Is it clear to children? So here that parent cell is continuously dividing. Is it clear to you? So because of that, what will happen means here after few sessions the what is that the parent organism or the genetic material whichever is present, it becomes weak. Is it clear to children? Means we can write here not useful for natural selection. Not useful for natural selection. It is not much useful for natural selection. Why? Because the genetic material is continuously dividing. Is it clear to you? After few seasons or after few sessions of asexual reproduction, the cell whichever is undergoing becomes very much weaker, it perish off. Is it clear to you? So that is the reason here. So now here as that parent material is dividing continuously, so what will happen means it is getting very much weak, so it perish off. So that's why here it is not useful for natural selection. What is that natural selection you are going to learn? So nature is going to select the species of stronger ones. Is it clear to children? Or which have the capability of surviving. So that you will learn in higher classes. So here theory of natural selection is given by Charles Darwin. So about that we will learn later in higher classes. Is it clear to children? So it is not much useful. Whereas here in sexual reproduction, as that fusion of male and female gametes is going to happen, so that the resulting zygote is dividing. So that's why it is more useful for natural selection. It is more useful for natural selection. Is it clear to children? Here if we say another important point, so that same genetic material is going to be carry forward generations after generations, that is from one cell to another cell. So it is not, what is that, recombination of genes we will not observe. No recombination of genes. Whereas here in sexual reproduction, what is happening means are that two parent organisms are involved, male and female. Okay, so here the genetic material from each parent is going to be taking part in the reproduction. So it is happening there more recombination of genes. Recombination of genes. So because of that, what will happen? New characters will be seen in the offsprings. Is it clear to children? New characters we are going to observe. So in asexual reproduction, where do we observe? Like hydra, amoeba, earthworms, examples. Is it clear to children? Whereas sexual reproduction, if we take animals, human beings, birds, so in all these animals, sexual reproduction is going to happen. So these are the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction. Is it clear to you? So just now you learned the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction. Now let us learn some of the methods of asexual reproduction in some animals. Is it clear to you? So here mode of reproduction, if we see, like some animals are there, okay, which are going to reproduce asexually. Is it clear to you? So like paramecium or amoeba, hydra, so they are microscopic. Is it clear to you? So they cannot be seen to the naked eye, but they are also existing. They are also reproducing their young ones. How means? That is by asexual methods. Okay. Now let us learn some of the methods of asexual reproduction in some animals. Is it clear to you? So what are the different methods of asexual reproduction? So budding. Budding is one type of asexual reproduction. Then binary fission. Binary fission. Is it clear to you? Then regeneration. Is it clear to you? So budding, binary fission, regeneration, like sporulation, some other methods are also there. About that you will learn in higher classes. So here regeneration and that sporulation you are learning in higher class. In 8th class you are learning about budding in hydra and binary fission in amoeba. Okay. So amoeba, paramecia, then euglena, then hydra, all these are going to reproduce asexually. They are microscopic. They live in water. Is it clear to children? So how that process is going to happen in these animals? So budding, binary fission and regeneration are the different methods of asexual reproduction. Now only we will learn one method, that is budding in hydra. budding in hydra. So this hydra is said to be a microscopic animal which lives in water. The hydra, if we observe, the slide of hydra, if we observe under the microscope, we can see the large number of surfaces on the body surface, large number of bulges like this. Okay, so what do we call these bulging portions which are seen on the body surface of hydra? Means they are called as birds. Birds. Is it clear to children? So here hydra is a microscopic animal which lives in water and it can be seen with microscope and it is going to reproduce by asexual method called budding. And how it is happening means, so on the body surface of this hydra we can observe the large number of bulged portions on the body surface. So what do we call them? They are called as birds, I said. Okay, when time comes for this parent hydra to, when time comes for this Anjali, when time comes for this parent cell to undergo asexually, what is going to happen here? It is going to develop like this, and after few hours it develops the other parts also. Is it clear to you? So now you can see here the parts are going to develop like that. So the daughter cell is going to pinch off from the parent cell and finally it is going to be known as a new individual hydra. Is it clear to children? So like that here hydra is going to reproduce asexually by budding method. So remaining methods we will discuss tomorrow. Thank you.